Hello again. I think that most of us remember being assured that leaving the European Union would allow this country to take back control of our borders and reduce immigration. I seem to remember that the intention was to bring the number of immigrants down to the tens of thousands. This was certainly one of the reasons that the Conservatives won a massive victory in 2019, particularly in the north of England and places which were traditionally Labour strongholds, the so-called Red Wall. MPs from those newly gained seats are now furiously demanding to know why the government is not keeping its word. I think they can see that as things stand, they are liable to be hoofed out at the next election. The truth is that this government has presided over an incredible, one might say unprecedented, increase in immigration at a rate which we have never before seen. I don't want to draw a direct connection with the fact that major cabinet posts are held by people whose families were immigrants and the way in which their perspective might perhaps have shaped policy in this matter, but it is certainly worth thinking about. The Home Secretary, Chancellor of the Exchequer and Secretary of State for Health all come from families whose roots lie in the Indian subcontinent. So, what are the actual figures for new immigration in the last year or so? That is to say, 2021. Let's see. Well, to begin with, there has been a 25% increase in the number of work visas issued. There were 239,987 last year. Then too, family visas have risen by 49%. And last year, 280,776 were issued. Student visas are up astronomically by 52%. Last year, 432,729 student visas were issued. That makes a total of 953,492 visas for those three categories, or just short of 1 million in 1 year. Anybody who thinks that any of these people will ever return to their own countries is living in cuckoo land. This is, of course, in addition to the millions of people in Hong Kong who do not need visas to come here because they've been granted British passports, and all the Ukrainians and the Afghans, channel migrants. By the way, these are the government's own figures, to which I give a link in the description to this video. The government website, that is. Since our government is largely composed of congenital liars, cheats and thieves, it is perhaps reasonable to assume that all these statistics are gross underestimates. You can probably double them to get a more accurate figure. This is one of the most shameful betrayals in the history of Britain, and I honestly see it as tantamount to treason, when a government allows the borders to be penetrated wholesale in this way against the will of the people. I know that some of the people commenting here have had harsh things to say about Tony Blair in the past and the way that he and his administration allowed in a lot of immigrants. It's nothing at all compared to what Boris Johnson and his cronies are doing right now. Right this very minute, they are letting, I should say inviting, millions of foreigners to come and live in Britain. When Priti Patel went to Rwanda, that deal that we talked about before, the fine print allows loads of Rwandans to come here. It allows Rwanda to unload a lot of their illegal immigrants in this country. When Boris Johnson went to India to make that wonderful trade deal, do you remember? Part of the quid pro quo was that he was going to loosen up the requirements for Indian student visas to allow more people to come here and more work visas as well. Once those people are here, they're here for good. This government is presiding over the greatest surge in immigration we have ever seen in Britain.